Hi, I'm Jeff Vega. Welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. And today we are going to drop some bombs. I am going to call out some names here in my state and in regards to election integrity. You know, that's something you're not supposed to be talking about on social media because you can get banned and deplatformed. But, you know, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to call out some names, and names that are relatively close to my backyard and in my backyard too. And that being said, in Michigan, just recently we had a report released by the Senate, and three of the people on the committee, and I'm going to name them right now, McBroom, Tice, and Bison. These three individuals put a report out about the election in 2020. But before I read you their conclusion, Dave, I want you to play this video, a medley that's out there pertaining to individuals who had something to say about election integrity back in 2016.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
Researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling this.
It is the individual voting machines that pose some of the greatest risk.
There are a lot of states that are dealing with antiquated machines, right, which are vulnerable to being hacked.
Workers were able to easily hack into an electronic voting machine. It was possible to switch votes.
43% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws, including backdoors.
We know how vulnerable now our systems were. I know the hackathon that took place last year, where virtually every machine was broken into fairly quickly.
I actually held a demonstration for my colleagues here at the Capitol, where we brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines, those that are being used in many states.
Aging systems also frequently rely on unsupported software like Windows XP in 2000, which may not receive regular security patches and are thus more vulnerable to the latest methods of cyber attack.
In a close presidential election, they just need to hack one swing state, or maybe one or two, or maybe just a few counties in one swing state.
I'm very concerned that you could have a hack that finally went through.
Did you notice that, folks, what they all had in common? They were Democrats. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, these individuals, every one of them, questioned the integrity of the election and also the ability of the election to be compromised. And some of them even stated how it could be done. And I want to ask you, if this wasn't already laid out, possibly being that they seem to know all the tricks, if you will, behind the scenes on how you could manipulate an election. And the question is, did they take those practice or their concepts and put them into practice? And as I said, these were Democrats. These aren't Republicans. So our friends in Lansing, they seem to think that there wasn't. Hey, Dave, let me ask you this question. What was that movie that Mel Gibson did when he was a colonel during Vietnam War?
We Were Soldiers.
We Were Soldiers. You folks, you remember that? Remember that movie? Well, there was a scene in there when when he was calling in for air support and he shouted broken arrow. And evidently, I'm not a military guy, but evidently that's when, you know, you're overrun and then they want you just to carpet bomb everything and you know, you're supposed to take cover and just hope for the best because, you know, you've been overrun. Well, you know, that's where we're at, folks, right now in this political climate. The enemy has breached the walls and the gates, and they have also teamed up with individuals who were our allies who have turned on us. Yeah, that's right. I said they turned on us. And friends, if we hope to save this country, this republic, we need to recognize that we need to clean up house, our own backyard, because they are not fighting on our behalf. And until we realize that we have to clean house, then we're not going to be successful. And you know, it's easy to blame the individual that's in another district or another state, but we need to first take a look in our own backyards and call out our representatives. Because remember, this Constitution starts out by saying, we the people. This is our republic, friends. It's not theirs. We elect these individuals to represent us. And I will tell you, they're not doing a good job. And what they did is unforgivable in this report. And I'm going to read it to you in their finding. It says, the committee can confidently assert that it has been thoroughly in examination of numerous allegations of unlawful action, improper procedures, fraud, voter theft, or any other description which would cause citizens to doubt the integrity of Michigan's 2020 election result. Our clear finding is that the citizens should be confident that the results represent the true result of the ballot cast by the people of Michigan. The committee strongly recommends citizens use a critical eye and ear towards those who have pushed demonstrative false theories for their own personal gains. We also conclude citizens should demand reasonable updates and reforms to close real vulnerabilities and unlawful activities that causes much of the doubt and questions to flourish and could, if unchecked, be responsible for serious and disastrous fraud or confusion in the future. Further, you know what? I don't even want to read this anymore. This is crap. And you know, this report that they put out pretty much says it was a fair and just election. But what they've also went and did is they unleashed our Attorney General on individuals who are questioning the validity of the elections. People like Patrick Kobach, Matt DePerno, Linda Lee Tarver, they are now going to be targets by the Attorney General because of this report and what their recommendations are. And you know what? Not only those three, because those three are the most vocal in the election fraud that has gone on, but every individual out there, including me, who has spoken and who has questions about it, but every elected official, or I shouldn't say elected official, but everybody who is planning on running for office, you know what? You're going to be included in this investigation. Thank you, senators, for what you did. And I hope that we understand the magnitude of what the betrayal that has happened to our party. And you know what? I've got comfort to know, you know, the Good Old Boy Network has got a lock on our party. But you know, with this woke and this CRT, real Americans have woken up to what has been going on in America, and especially to their kids. And there is a whole new group of real Americans who are not political activists, who have gotten into this fight, and you're seeing it all across the country and all across our state, in running for school boards, running for city council seats, trustees. But also too, they're also recalling individuals in office. And I want to encourage individuals, we need to educate those on the swamp that is in our own backyard and work at getting rid of them before we get rid of the anti-Americans, the Marxists, and the communists. Because what good is it going to do to fight them when we got our own in our backyard stabbing us in the back? And until next time, Joshua 24:15.